Psalms 37:23. The steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Psalm 37:23. When I saw this picture, I really appreciate actually seeing the cross on the top. I think whoever did it, it really blessed my heart, because I saw the cross on the top of the hill, and I saw the path that leads to it. And it really spoke to me, because my life, since God has come into my heart, my life has been a constant steps towards the cross. That's what I have. That's what I have been experiencing. I really appreciate seeing this, because that's what has been in my life. And the reason why is because Jesus died on the cross, and he ultimately, it was on the cross that Jesus ultimately put his will, or his fleshly will, to death. And I really like that, because it is on the cross that I also should put my will to die. And Jesus did that perfectly. He did that throughout his life. We know that he would say, "Not my will, but God's will be done." We know that people wanted to crown him as a king, but he left the area. He didn't want it to be a king, and he knew that he was God, but he decided to come as a servant and die as a criminal. So I see that Jesus has constantly put in his will on the cross. And that is why I really appreciate seeing that on the cross, because I also wanted to do the same. I wanted to constantly put my will on the cross, because the steps that Jesus took to become my Savior, it is a step that I wanted to take it to become Jesus' child. And that's just putting my will on the cross all the time. And one thing that I really also wanted to talk about is that the second part of this verse, it talks about, and he delights in his way. And I was thinking about, does that mean that every time I put my will on the cross, does that mean that God will be delighted in me, or be delighted in what I'm doing? I don't know, but I can go as far as saying that I think that would be a very immature way how to think, because I can put my will on the cross grudgingly, or I can put my will on the cross willingly. And that's the reason why I say that it would be very mature for me to say that, okay, well, as long as I'm putting my will on the cross, then God will be pleased with me. I don't think so. Because Jesus did that, and he did it willingly. And the reason why he did it willingly is because he understood that God's will was far better than whatever his flesh was trying to, tempted with him with. And so he did it perfectly, and I wanted to do it too. And I want to do it willingly. God, the same way that God gave me the freedom to choose him, he also gave me the freedom to lay my will down on the cross. And nobody took Jesus' life. He laid it down for his sheep. And I wanted to do it as well. I want to lay my flesh down. Whenever my flesh come across God's will, I wanted to lay it down, just like Jesus did. And so I really appreciate that. And so whenever I go about my day, my work at home, whenever I come across the opportunity to lay my flesh down or lay my will down and die to myself, I want Jesus to help me to do that, because he's the only one who did it perfectly. We all know that he lived 33 years and he didn't sin. So he was the one who carved that path first. So he's going to be the one who's going to do it for me as well. He empowered me to lay also my flesh down and to live like him, but willingly, happily doing it, because I know that God's will in my life is way better than my flesh will, or way better than what my flesh is trying to do.